I gotta rant about Stranger Things more. I'm just too deep into the context of I'm getting too hyped for season 5, and I just keep reading more into these things. And the first thing I gotta talk about is Mike and Will being in a relationship. It's not gonna happen. I don't know why everybody is so hung up on this theory, so caught and grasped by it. It is not going to happen. I don't care what the signs have been from the creators of the show. Obviously, we can obviously say Will is gay. We can obviously say that. We can see that. There's been so many scenes where we can understand that. We know that. We know that for a fact. And we know that he likes Mike. We know that. But it's not backed and forth. It's not. Mike has been in love with 11 since he saw her. It's just stupid. This theory gets dumber and dumber the more people try to pick it away and try to make it something it's not. It's not gonna happen, guys. I hate to break it to every Stranger Things fan out there, but this is a theory that I just don't believe in. I don't. And there's so many reasons to it. For again, one, Mike does not feel the same way. All these context clues that have been sprinkled throughout how Mike awkwardly hugged Will. They're friends. They used to be best friends. Now they've been drifting apart a lot. Mike has stayed in contact with Eleven, but hasn't really with Will, and it's just kind of awkward. I can definitely see that, not in a platonic way, not a freaking relationship way. That's how I see that. It's just awkward because this is somebody who used to be your best friend, and you haven't talked to him in how long? That's stupid. That's a stupid thing to grasp on and say, well, this is obviously a really hard relationship trope. When Mike came to town, him and Levin were strong. Their letters were they stayed in touch, and they really were still close. They stayed in touch throughout. And they were still have a really strong bond. So Mike's obviously really excited to finally see her after a whole year without seeing her. And it's just kind of awkward with Will because he's there for 11. He's not really there for Will, even though Will used to be his best friend. That's why that was just a weird interaction between them. I'm sorry. And then Will giving Mike the advice, and then people saying that that's the reason why. Mike's just reusing the advice that Will gave to him. No, obviously he is, but it doesn't. It's not anything deeper than that. It's not. It's not Will. It's just it makes me pissed. It makes me mad just thinking about because I can't connect the dots. How that makes sense? I can't. Will's words obviously inspired Mike to tell that to 11 and tell him how he really felt about her. It wasn't like he just copied everything Will said to him. If you know what I'm talking about, it's like when they're on the van, they're going to the pizza place to figure out how to help 11 piggyback. And then Will starts crying because he talks about his painting or whatever. Blah, blah. That's what I'm talking about. And now all the marketing stuff with it too. Oh my gosh. They obviously this is a little bit intentional. There's been so many marketing things where it's Will and 11 and Mike all split up, and that is very true. I will have to agree with everybody on that. Obviously, the marketing team and everybody out there is trying to get the fans more engaged in this. Like, oh, why do they separate them here? And the fact that it's happening so much, it's kind of crazy. If you don't know what I'm talking about, basically, in all the marketing ploys that they've been using, when the Stranger Things characters are rewatching the whole series of Stranger Things on VHS in this one room, they had Will and 11 and Mike all split up into different rooms, never watched it together. And there's been so many pictures of it too. Just all the marketing things have them split up, or Will in the middle of 11 and Mike. It's very ominous and very weird to see, honestly. But yeah, I will have to agree on everybody with these fan theories with Mike and Will on that. But that's it. That's it. I think that's just to get people more excited. But I definitely, what I think is going to happen is Will, I think, is going to confess his feelings for Mike. I think he's going to say, well, it's more than this. And then it's just going to be well, Mike's not going to feel the same way. He's not. He's not. But also something that I am just also that I'm thinking about. I have not spoiled a single thing for myself. I have kept off every time I see something that says things about to happen in Stranger Things or like what things that you should prepare for, I swipe from that. I don't look at that. I don't care. I'm literally, I like in my prediction video, I haven't looked at anything that's came out. I haven't watched any trailers. I haven't seen anything. The only thing I saw was a name of an episode, and I was really pissed off because I didn't even mean to see it. I glanced at it, and it just burned in my head. I was so upset. If you know what I'm talking about, it's episode 2. Do not search it up if you don't want to be spoiled. It got spoiled for me. I'm upset about it. I'm a little angry, But yeah, that would be the only thing that's spoiled. It's not really. I mean, it's a spoiling, but it's a minor one. It's not like the biggest deal in the world. Obviously, the season's gonna have way bigger and bigger things than obviously what the title is. Like, I mean, So anyway. Next thing I want to talk about is Nancy and Steve. And Will's brother. You guys know me? I'm terrible with names. I've rewatched the show about 1,000 times, and I still can't remember the name unless I see it. I will look at it, but I'm gonna talk while I'm looking at it for a second because I just have to, and I can't because I'm just trying to find this name. Gosh dang it! Where is it? Oh my gosh, where is it? Jonathan. I didn't even see it. It just came into my mind. Jonathan. These three. This is a love triangle that I can actually see being legitimately interesting. I can see this being super, super, super interesting and how they're going to play it this season. Because at the end of the last season, obviously Nancy was catching a lot of feelings for Steve. She was, and it was crazy. She was literally and obviously Jonathan and Nancy's relationship is still a little shaky. It's very shaky. We don't really know what's going to happen. There's a lot of questions with it. It's very interesting to see what's going to happen. So I think that is actually a very interesting love triangle. Where do I think it will go? I think Nancy is going to go back to Steve. I think that's how they're going to end it, or Steve is going to die, or Jonathan's going to die. I don't see Nancy dying, though. That's how I see it. And I definitely think if they're all three alive, I see Nancy going back to Steve, and her and Jonathan are going to split. That's how I see it. But something else I'm very concerned about with season 5, and I've seen this a lot. Where are they going with this? Season 4 ended with, we don't know what's happening. It looks like everything's going to shit. I expected episode 5 just to get right back into it. We're back in the shit, and Hawkins is effed. Hawkins is effed in the A, as they say. But it doesn't seem like they're going to do that. It seems like, from what I've heard, what I understand, and again, I really haven't looked into anything. I've been trying to avoid it, but it finds its way to me, and I sometimes when I read something, it burns in my skull, and I just can't forget it. But anyway, I saw that it's going to go. Well, I won't spoil it, but it seems I don't want to spoil anything. If you have been away from spoilers and you don't want anything to be spoiled, click off. Click off right now for just half a second. But anyway, apparently it's going to be 2 years in the future. This is very interesting to me as well. What's happened in those 2 years? Because again, Hawkins seemed to be fucked in the ass. I'll say it this time because it seemed really bad. It really did. So I'm very curious, concerned, because how are they going to go 2 years? And they're like, are they going to just briefly explain it? Like, oh, then the gate collapsed, and then it's very interesting to me. I really don't know how they're going to go with that. I don't. It is just something that I'm trying to wrap my head around. Maybe that's wrong. I hope it is, because again, I don't want anything to be spoiled for me. But because it seems like with a lot of for how many episodes there are, they're gonna have to go back to the origins. They obviously can't just throw us back into it. There's over 12 hours of content, so it's they can't just throw us into Hawkins and with this it would go on too long. It would seem so long, so it just would not feel right. We all know it would not. But anyway, I won't talk about that too much more. I don't want to just keep rambling on about that because I have already. So anyway, another thing I'm really excited about in this next season is Karen's bigger role. This is something that it seemed like each season she was going to have a bigger role, and it just never happened. It just hasn't happened. But she has to have one now. She really does. In my opinion, like if they don't give her a bigger role, that would be such a huge blunder. She's always been a character that's there. Like she's been considered a main character, which I really don't consider her a main character. It's like she's there, but she's never really integral to the story. Like if you took her out of it, like if she was like a Charlie Brown mom, like it would she would be the same thing really at the end of the day. That's what I mean by that. So I'm very hopeful that they do some more interesting stuff with it. Also, the theory that she is Vecna's sister is the very dumb. That is not a good theory. It doesn't make any sense. You're basing it off a poster. Again, if you know what I mean, like there's these posters for the new season coming out, and then Karen's was on the Vecna house or whatever. That's what the theory's kind of fully based on. I don't get that. You know what I mean? I don't understand it. Like I don't know. But anyway. But anyway. The Jason guy. This is also something I've seen. Why it I want to talk about this character a lot because obviously a lot of people hate him. And we're also seeing some people like defend him like, well, he was just trying to protect the honor of his girlfriend. This is just such a hateable character in every single way of the fashion of it. He did not care that his girlfriend died by the end of it. Almost completely forgot about it. He might say that that's the reason he was going after her, but really he only cared about the looks of his relationship. He obviously didn't care enough about his girlfriend to really see how she was struggling with a lot of things, and obviously she didn't even trust him enough to tell him all these things. So obviously the relationship wasn't that deep. That's the first thing I want to say, and the first thing that you should set a red flag off for you. And how he's always just like throwing her out there and saying, "I love you, Christy. Christy, you're the best. Christy, you're amazing. Oh my gosh." And obviously, if he knew that she was dealing with some stuff like this, obviously as a good boyfriend, you'd be like, okay, well, let's take a step back. Let's figure out. Let's not throw you into these situations anymore. And let's figure this thing out. We'll talk through. Obviously, he didn't care about that. He just cared about the relationship and how he was in a relationship with the cheerleader and all that. So that's the red flag number one. The second red flag, literally like the first moment that this kid starts talking on screen, he starts almost playing down Jim Hopper's death, which we all thought was dead. At this point, we all had theories that he was still alive. I really never thought they'd kill him off, even though I never really thought they'd kill him off, to be honest. But anyway, with Jim Hopper's death, he's like, did they die for us to lose in the championship game? Did they do that? Yo, we're gonna win. What the hell are you talking about? As a guy who played sports all throughout high school, that is so terribly cringy. So cringy. Like a man, people believe in this town that he sacrificed his life for to save people in a town, and then that's what he died for was a basketball game. That is the first red flag I want to talk about, or the second red flag. He obviously just cares about the outside appearance of him. That's what he goes for. He might feel these things inside and how he just gets pissed off, but he's obviously a very hot-headed person. Anyway, he's not a very important character, but he died at the end of season 5, right? Like, I've also seen these things where apparently he's going to be back or something. I don't know. Or season 4, I mean. He died, right? Like, his body was split in half. Like, I don't expect him to be back. Like, I don't. I don't. I hope he's not, to be honest, because he just slowed the plot down, too. Not to say his, like, character was bad. Honestly, the actor who played him did a pretty good job, in my opinion. Like, really made you not like the character. And he kind of had a relatable storyline. I mean, his, like, girlfriend died, and he believes it to be Eddie. But, I mean, but then, like, by the end of it, when Lucas is obviously, like, kind of, like, shooken with this, and then he's pulling a gun on Lucas, about to shoot him. Obviously, he's just, like, over his head. He's forgotten what he started this for. Like, he's about to kill Lucas when he's trying to defend a dead person's honor. Like, he's obviously way far gone. So anyway, I wanted to talk about him because apparently he's gonna, like, be back or something. Like, I just can't wrap my head around it. But anyway, the last thing I want to talk about is the Mind Flayer is the like supreme bad. Like he is like the top of the notch evil in this Stranger Things universe. I don't think it's Vecna whatsoever. And I know this might be a theory, it might be the truth, it might just be wrong. I don't know, but this is what I believe. I believe the Mind Flayer is going to be the biggest threat in the show. I do think Vecna is still alive. I 100% do. But I think this is very important for Will's character. I think the Mind Flayer is obviously going to beat Vecna in some way, or not beat Vecna, but obviously going to keep using Vecna. And then Will's going to be able to sense when the Mind Flayer's thinking about using Vecna. I think that is what's going to happen because, like, obviously Will was combined with the Mind Flayer, and I do think that the Mind Flayer is gonna. I don't know. This is just kind of my thing. This is why Will is going to be very important because he's going to be able to predict what Vecna does by the end of it. That's what I think. Or this is another theory I have is that the Mind Flayer is going to completely take over Will, and that is how they're gonna like Vecna and the Mind Flayer are gonna be able to kind of beat 11 in a sense because they're gonna be able to predict because obviously that's Will's gonna be a spy. Like Will's gonna like slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly lose himself to the Mind Flayer. That's also kind of a theory I've had, but mainly I think Will's gonna be a good thing for the kids and the grown-ups and 11. That's what I think. So yeah, that's really about it. Just wanted to rant about Stranger Things a lot. Mainly the relationship part because it is just annoying. Oh, it's just annoying. And why release the titles of the episode if there's a spoiler in the fucking title? Oh, that's really about it. And as always, have a great day.